Martial arts rule in the 9 mystical realms, and only the strongest are respected, in whose honor there is a list called Heavenly. According to rumors, those who are on this list have unlimited power. Those who are on this list are able to weave clouds and create rain with their own hands, and the one who is on the list first can compete with the immortal gods and even resist the heavens. The first on the heavenly list is Cangxuan, who is called the Great Master of the Body, and has met a vis-a-vis with eternal heavenly sorrow, which implies a special test for the strongest, which is divided into several levels. As the first test of the heavenly tribulation, a sword flew at Cangxuan, a divine weapon that not everyone can overcome. There is a belief among the local elders and masters that only those who have received the recognition of the heavenly Tao are able to resist the divine sword. The elders watching this picture were excited. Someone suggested that Cangxuan had become much stronger and would be able to overcome the sword, and therefore all those gathered watched with excitement and trepidation, while everyone was looking spellbound at what was happening. Cangxuan without any hesitation raises his hand, and in a split second breaks the sword without blinking an eye, which causes great surprise and delight among the nearby masters, for whom this action was amazing and to some extent impossible. But for the great master of the body, it was incredibly easy and even boring, and therefore, he expressed his dissatisfaction and asked for a more difficult test. 2 dragons appeared in front of him. One of them was fiery red, and the other was cold blue. Apparently they represented ice and flame. In the middle between them stood a stout warrior in silver uniform, with a gray beard and hair, who appeared in a rage because of the words of Cangxuan, whose arrogance caused indignation and rage from heaven, who regarded his words as a provocation in their direction, as humiliation and a challenge. But Cangxuan's self-confidence was not shaken during the warrior's tirade, and he defeated him without delay, throwing the tip of the divine sword, which was broken into small pieces by Elder Yi himself. The tip of the divine sword, having reached the target, crashed into the warrior, and he was literally overthrown in less than a minute. The self-confidence that shrouded Elder Yi's eyes ruined him, being sure that he will overcome 100,000 heavenly sorrows without any problems, which imply the very last level of the test. He applies a spell, but unfortunately, he fails and loses to heaven, dissolving into thin air and admitting defeat. Disappearing, he announces to everyone that he is no longer the ruler of the 9 kingdoms, and everything falls on their shoulders, including the fight against demons, which are a serious threat. The watching elders are surprised and shocked by this outcome, for even Cangxuan, the owner of the incomparable sacred body, could not escape the fate of being destroyed by 100,000 heavenly tribulation. Elder Yi died in the heavenly kingdom, and now the first position of the heavenly list is empty, which means that the top position in the ranking will change. Replacing his name with another, the list will have a new owner. This will cause a storm in the 9 realms. The demons, previously fearing Elder Yi demons, decided that it was their time to rule. A number of demonic kingdoms, namely the kingdom of demons, the kingdom of thunder, the kingdom of demonic gods, celebrate the fall of Elder Yi, and each of the lords of these principalities expresses a desire to take the first place in the heavenly list, become its owner, establish its order on the lands belonging to the 9 kingdoms, become the ruler of these lands. While some celebrate the death of Elder Yi, the heavenly kingdom sincerely believes that he has not disappeared forever and will soon return, and stop the chaos that will soon envelop the entire territory of the 9 kingdoms and return everything to normal. You just need to wait a little. After all, the disappearance of Cangxuan and his loss in the Heavenly Calamity will lead the 9 realms to chaos, to the fact that demons will become active and sow discord, fear and rampage in the territory of the realms, changing the order of coexistence. So the return of Elder Yi is simply necessary as a guarantor of peaceful coexistence. Cangzhou City, Cangzhou Prefecture, Jiushuan Continent. The weather is nice outside. The sun is shining and a light breeze is blowing. There is not a single cloud in the sky, foreshadowing something good. A young man in turquoise robes and with wheat-colored hair reaching to the waist, who looks like a young master, holds a sign in his hands and announces that the trials of the Cangxuan sect are beginning. All those who express a desire to participate are obliged to inform him about it now in order for him to put them on the list of participants. Because tomorrow there will be an entrance exam, where all those who have expressed their intention to participate will be able to test themselves, their strength, and talent. People who heard these words were seriously excited and with about fighting cries went to the young man in order to be registered. They were very much excited by the young man's words, and they began to wait on a first-come, first-served basis. Some who did not want to stand under the scorching sun and wait for their time bickered, tried to push through the crowd, expressing a great desire to appear on the list faster and begin to pass the long-awaited tests. Among all those waiting there was one stranger in a straw hat and worldly attire, who did not stand out from the rest of the people in any way. We can say that they outshone him. He looked like a beggar from a lower world, like a mortal. The young man had purple hair, a high ponytail, golden fox eyes, a confident look with a certain cunning inside. This young man was Cangxuan, who disappeared more than 2,000 years ago. He was surprised to notice that the world had changed a lot during his absence. The seas had dried up. There were no fish in them anymore because they turned into fields. But most of all, he was surprised by the fact that he, who was once the strongest elder of Yi, returned to the Cangxuan sect as an unknown person, because now he is with hardly anyone will know. The Cangxuan sect was founded by him during his reign and was the first number among the 9 kingdoms. At that time, he was in the prime of his life, followed by a million students who saw their ideal in him, aspired to be like him. The students followed literally backwards. If he was previously the leader of the sect, then who is now at the head of the sect? Former Elder Yi is thinking aloud about this, and at this moment a little girl with disheveled red hair lying in disarray on her head and unusual eyes, one of which is golden and the other purple, runs up to him. The child was dressed in beggar's clothes, which showed that the girl belonged to the lower world. The child, hearing that Cangxuan is thinking aloud and talking to himself, asks him if he is all right and if he is ill, because no one will talk to himself in his right mind. And Cangxuan did exactly that, conducted a single dialogue with himself. An ordinary and unremarkable-looking child struck the former Elder Yi, because she had an excellent Dao body, perfectly combining yin and yang, which created a perfect balance. Cangxuan saw in this child a huge talent that is rarely found in the lower worlds and was pleasantly surprised. Suddenly, the girl raises her hand to the sky and says that a black python has appeared there, which is a harbinger of misfortune. Hearing this, the surrounding people burst out laughing because of the child's words, calling her a beggar and an inventor, saying that her words are funny, and this is simply impossible. And the former Elder Yi, in turn, notes that the child, because of his talent, has hypersensitivity, and is able to see something that others will not notice right away, so he believed the kid. In the sky above Cangzhou, a 4-eyed demonic python, black in color, actually appeared. The demonic snake's target was 8,000 young masters. Python appeared before them to destroy them by trying their blood and becoming a dragon by completing the rebirth test. These words of the demonic creature sounded like a toxin in the head of the young masters, causing a wild, sticky and enveloping fear for their lives in hundreds of masters. Hearing this, someone began to run for their lives, afraid of death, which was now too close, and someone did not have time to take a step as he was overthrown. While the demonic creature was laughing at the death of the masters, girls in red robes with gold frames appeared before him. The disciples of the Cangxuan sect looked soft and pretty, the epitome of the word tenderness. At the head of these girls was Han Jingling. Despite their harmless appearance, they had weapons in their hands, swords, and Han Jingli, the only one among them, was a whip, which was not inferior to swords in its strength and power. The girls, without delay, with a battle cry calling to kill the python, rushed into battle with him to protect not only the people in the surroundings of the city, but also the nearby territories. The fight that did not have time to start and gain momentum is over. As in the words of the demonic black python, a bunch of small appetizing people were defeated by him without much effort in a split second. Realizing that the enemy is too strong for them and their forces are not equal, Han Jingli gives an order for her wards to find older brothers, that is, senior students of the Cangxuan sect with perfectly balanced talent, and turn to them for help, because they themselves cannot cope and can suffer heavy losses not only among the civilian population. Having sent a signal into the sky, forming a fiery inscription in the air, he had to call for help. After a couple of seconds, Han Jingling and the rest of the students were attacked by black lightning bolts that the python directed at them. Lightning had a paralytic effect and caused terrible pain, shackling their bodies and lungs, not allowing them to take a deep breath of air. If they were ordinary people, they would immediately die. Python began to destroy the city, the houses located in it, to destroy people who ran away with wild screams, trying to save themselves and their dear people from possible death. Women picked up children and ran away with them. Men stayed behind their families, delaying the time of the attack on them, drawing attention to themselves, and children left without parents hid in barrels and behind houses. Watching from the side, the former Elder Yi attracted the attention of the python, which immediately saw him and attacked him. Being sure that he will kill him now, On swings his tail for a control blow, but he does not immediately notice that he has not even inflicted a scratch on him. He was defeated by an unarmed Cangxuan, who defeated him effortlessly. Former Elder Yi's eyes were closed, and he was completely calm, watching all these disciples of the Cangxuan sect, who were paralyzed by the python, were shocked and surprised. Because how could a person without a divine weapon and generally similar to a poor mortal from the lower world overcome a terrible creature that instilled fear of death in people and sowed chaos? The death of the python removed the paralytic spell from them and they were able to relax a little. Using just one finger to defeat the demon, the former Elder Yi extracted the yin core or the heavenly elixir of the demonic python, which once granted him strength. The energy emanating from this core prompted Cangxuan to certain thoughts. Firstly, the demon's beast core at the stage of reincarnation was strong. Its spiritual energy was very deep and overwhelming for well-trained female disciples of the sect. Secondly, most likely he was raised by a martial artist, a strong man. These conclusions led former Elder Yi to the conclusion that the attack was not for nothing. It was not an improvisation. Someone decided to plot against the Cangxuan sect. Immersed in his thoughts, he forgot that all this time there was a mortal girl standing next to him, who had previously amazed him with her hidden talent. In Cangxuan's hands was a small python that attracted the child's attention. The child found this python cute and harmless, and then expressed a desire to keep it for himself. Elder Yi decided that he didn't need a python and he wouldn't get any benefit from it. Gave it to the girl. He asked the name of the child. The girl introduced herself with gratitude in her eyes and childlike spontaneity. Her name was Si. At this time, young men appeared in the sky, standing on swords amid the cheers of the townspeople. The elder brothers, disciples of the Cangxuan sect, arrived at the scene. At the head was Shen Yunfei, the grandson of the elder of the inner hall of the Cangxuan sect. The young man was handsome. He exuded mystery. Expensive clothes, dark purple in color, emphasized his coldness and seriousness. Part of his hair was neatly gathered on top of his head, fixed with a gold ornament, and part lay on his shoulders. With all his appearance, he showed his status, his importance, and belonging to a noble family. His gaze was cold and cutting. There was not a drop of warmth and kindness in it. The older students who arrived at the place where the beast was defeated caused admiration and joy among the people, which was not hidden by anything, because it meant that they knew about the trouble that had happened to them and they came to save them. They sincerely believe that they care about them and worry about them. Han Jingling, being a junior disciple of the sect and a direct participant in the battle with the demonic python, came forward and greeted her elder brother. During their conversation, one of the ordinary soldiers, a subordinate of Shen Yunfei, approached them, informing him that the python was indeed defeated, but the reason is unknown, because the shell and core of Yin disappeared. The body of the peony is missing and only the scale of the destruction that was in the city indicates that there really was a battle with the python. This caused Yunfeng to be indignant. He asked Han Jingli where the core had gone and how it could have disappeared. The girls could not answer this question because they had no idea themselves. They were in a paralyzed state and could not keep track of what was happening. Looking serious and interested in what had happened, Shen was not thinking about people at all. Behind his assumed kindness and interest, he hides selfishness and arrogance, which are his true character traits. He wants to find the core to become famous, to ascend to the heavenly stage, quickly and without problems, and not because he cares about the dead or those who almost died. He genuinely doesn't care about Han Jingling and her team, who fought for people's lives in the city. Inside, he is consumed by anger and unhealthy selfishness. To search for the core, they use a special mirror of revelation, which will help find out who dared to steal the treasures, in their opinion, belonging to the elder Shen and who will be punished for this crime. The mirror leads to Zai, who is holding a small python in her hands, which Cangxuan gave him earlier. Zai, frightened and not quite understanding what is happening, looks for support and turns to Cangxuan, who in turn tells the child that everything will be fine because he is nearby. Shen gives the order to catch Zai and Cangxuan, calling them ragamuffins. He tells them to take the core away from them and return it to him by any means. The soldiers attack a defenseless child who is not able to fight them back, but Elder Yi does not allow any damage to be done to the girl, and attacks them. He is furious and indignant at how the disciples of one of the most noble sects, which once protected the weak, allow themselves to attack an incomprehensible child who poses absolutely no threat. He faces Shen's evil gaze. Both of them are tense and clearly not disposed in a positive way to each other. Lightning flashes between them. Cangxuan says they are a terrible generation that shames the sect. Previously, everyone respected each other and protected those who could not protect themselves. But now they pursue other goals, and Cangxuan does not understand how they have come to this. A bunch of onlookers watching Shen and former Elder Yi express indignation. They do not understand who Cangxuan is, how he appeared here, and how he dares to talk so informally with a disciple of the sect. Someone says that perhaps he is a martial artist who is at the initial stage of the realm of body perfection. And someone says that he is an ordinary mortal who thinks too highly of himself. Shen Yunfei expresses interest in the person of Cangxuan, because a beggar of the kingdom of perfection of the body alone, without anyone's help, will cope with 2 disciples of the Cangxuan sect, which not everyone can do. Shen goes down to Cangxuan and says that he is in a good mood today, due to the fact that the core is not lost. So he does not execute Cangxuan. Instead of executing him, he tells him to strip himself of his legs by throwing a sword in front of him so that Cangxuan will do it to himself. Former Elder Yi watches his tirade and keeps his face calm. Not a single muscle on his face twitched. Behind Shen's back, the rest of the senior students, his wards, are gathering, ready to rush to the former elder at any moment, attack him if necessary. Shen Yunfei, in turn, threatens Cangxuan with the fact that the territory belongs to them and he cannot refuse to carry out his order, because then he will be punished much harsher and will not stand on ceremony. But, unexpectedly, Han Jingling stands between Cangxuan and Shen. The girl comes to the defense, in her opinion, of an ordinary citizen who did not know what the core and shell of the beast were, and to whom it all belongs. She asks to let them go, since they are not to blame for anything, and mutilating or killing non-wine is not at all what a sect should do. At the harmless and seemingly rational request of the girl, Shen begins to get angry, because someone went against his orders. Han says that if they can't come to a consensus, then she will need to report what happened to Saint Yi, who will make the only right decision in the current situation. These words make Shen Yunfei even angrier, and he suppresses the girl with his aura, making it impossible to move. His aura is a huge blue lion that has caused fear in everyone around him. The beast soul of the ice lion is admired by everyone, because it means that Shen is an expert of the deep soul realm, and the ice lion is a rank 6 soul. Shen tells Han Jingling how insignificant she is and that she does not dare to go against his words, questioning his will. Enraged by the arbitrariness of the sect's disciple, the ice lion attacks Han Jingling, who cannot move because of the fear that enveloped her, and therefore is in danger and literally looks into the eyes of her death. Cangxuan, who has been standing next to her all this time, abruptly pushes the girl away, thereby saving her from imminent death. While others are terrified and don't dare to say a word, former Elder Yi smilingly thanks the girl for standing up for her. Shen became even more angry, his face twisted into a grimace of anger and contempt. He promises to show a stinking beggar the difference between a martial artist and an ordinary, worthless mortal. A grin appears on Cangxuan's face, a fiery dragon appears behind his back, which terrifies Shen. Primal fear freezes on his face, because the aura suppresses him so much that he cannot take the slightest step. Cangxuan accepts the challenge. Cangxuan calls Shen Yunfei an arrogant brat who does not respect not only the elders, but also ordinary people whom he should protect in accordance with the ideology of the sect. According to Elder Yi, Shen is only a martial artist of the 6th rank of the Deep Soul realm, but there is no limit to his arrogance that he should be ashamed of his behavior and words. Arrogance has never led anyone to anything good, and Cangxuan felt it the hard way many years ago. Cangxuan throws Shen Yunfei along with his lion, which causes him to fly up into the air, falls and hits his face hard on the ground, and Elder Yi, continuing his tirade about the worthlessness and stupidity of the senior disciple, steps on his foot, which causes him to cry out because of the unbearable pain. The pressure that Cangxuan exerts on his leg causes an unpleasant feeling that the bone is about to crack and the leg will break completely. Elder Yi is indignant at how the 1,000-year-old teachings of the sect gave birth to such a cretin as Shen, where his parents, relatives, and teachers are going. This fact makes him feel depressed, because in the past he put his heart into his soul in this sect, and now he sees what it has turned into, that all the tenets of the sect are not respected. Shen asks who the young man in front of him is and asks him to stop beating, calling Cangxuan a psycho who wants to kill him. The latter, as if not hearing his words, continues a kind of moral lesson, and at this moment, a voice suddenly appears out of nowhere, which is ready to pardon Shen Yunfei because of his stupidity and long tongue. The voice apologizes on behalf of the sect for what happened to Cangxuan and Baby's Eye. Elder Yi understands that this is not just a voice from the void, but telepathy. The realization of this causes him a little pleasant surprise, because it means that there are capable followers in the sect, and not just arrogant cretins. He forgives Shen for this, because they stood up for him, but asks him not to tell anyone about what happened between them and that Shen saw the power and strength of Cangxuan, which he possesses. In order to be sure that Shen won't tell anyone about what happened, Cangxuan pours in internal energy to manipulate the memory of senior disciple Shen and erases the memories of himself. Shen Yunfei comes to his senses, not understanding what happened before he fell in unconsciousness about the events of the past minutes. Yilingyan, a saint of the Cangxuan sect, appeared in front of him. The girl who appeared before Shen Yunfei is beautiful. She has jet black hair. She herself is in white robes, with a sword in her hands. The appearance of the saint made a splash. Everyone was fascinated by her beauty. The girl, without ceremony with Shen, told him that if he once again allowed himself to be self-willed and attack ordinary citizens, she would kill him without hesitation, regardless of whose grandson Shen Yunfei was. Shen does not take her words and begins to threaten her. He tells her not to forget herself and not to take on too much, that her threats are empty words, because no one dares to threaten the outstanding Shen Yunfei. No one dares to go against his words and will. Without letting him finish his speech, she raises the sword right in front of the senior disciple's nose. Her strength is so palpable that Shen is speechless, because the sword pointing at him is quite a serious threat, and the seriousness in Saint Yi's gaze is an indicator that she was not joking. Yilingyan reminds him that no one gave him the right to speak and she will not grovel in front of him, reminding him of different statuses and strength. Shen Yunfei, who had reached the cultivation level of the soul realm, could not resist even a single swing of Saint Yi's sword. This fact shocked many, causing undisguised surprise, because Saint Yi just raised the sword and already suppressed Shen Yunfei. Yilingyan orders that Shen Yunfei be taken to the sect for treatment, and then transferred to the punishment hall. The punishment must be fair, so any intervention to reduce the limit of responsibility is prohibited. No one should help Shen. If someone decides to help him in the execution of punishment, then he will be punished immediately, just like Shen Yunfei. Saint Yi approaches Zai and Cangxuan, apologizing and explaining that she is incredibly ashamed of what happened, because she could not properly educate the students, causing a lot of trouble to the civilian population. A guess pops up in her thoughts that she had already seen Cangxuan in the arched mirror earlier. Zai admires Yilingyan's ethereal beauty. She makes a good impression on her, and he shares this with former Elder Yi. Cangxuan, in turn, looks around the girl, noting that she has the rarest sword body in the world, and she herself has a huge natural talent, which is extremely rare. He assumes that this girl is a descendant of his disciple King. The only one who does not admire the beauty of Saint Yi is Cangxuan himself, because he believes that beauty alone will be of little use. He notices the fact, which is not known to anyone in the vicinity, that as a result of prolonged training with the sword, senior student Yi has fallen ill with a deadly disease and will soon be gone, and her beauty will not protect her from this. His words dumbfound Yilingyan and arouse anger from Han Jingling, who in turn attacks him with insults and indignation that someone dared to say such outright nonsense about Saint Yi. According to Han Jingling, Cangxuan is an uncouth brute who did not even thank Elder Sister Yi for saving his life, and at the same time allows himself to carry such nonsense. How dare he communicate so frivolously and disrespectfully with Saint Yilingyan? Cangxuan only grinned at Han Jingling's words. He explained his position by saying that the Kai of 10 swords is not easy to practice, and the problems that arise during this cause serious harm to health. He offered Yilingyan to help solve this problem if she had such a desire, but he put forward a condition. He and Zai should be allocated a VIP room, and Saint Yi herself should come to his room at 11 o'clock at night alone. Elder Yi's condition caused indignation and embarrassment to Han Jingling and the guards accompanying Shen Yunfei, because such a rude desire was very outrageous on the part of a mortal who, in their opinion, is nothing. They are worried that he might do something bad to Yilingyan, so they are categorically against this idea. Yilingyan was surprised by Cangxuan's knowledge of the matter concerning the Kai technique of 10 swords, because such a technique was created by her ancestor King and was never passed on to outsiders. That is, it was known to a limited circle of people. How could Cangxuan know about this? Having asked this question, Yilingyan agreed to a private meeting of the vis-a-vis with him, which caused surprise among all the people gathered. Cangxuan and Zai were in the room assigned to them. The little girl enjoyed the meal. A table was set in front of them, where there were fish, meat, herbs, drinks, and a number of other dishes. The child enjoyed eating everything in front of him, and Elder Yi, in turn, put more food on the child. Because a growing body should eat well, his actions caused a feeling of gratitude in the child. She noticed that there was someone inside the mini python, namely, a human figure was moving in it. The man inside the python was an old man with gray skin, a long beard and a staff. The old man shouted at them, calling them beggars and demanding to let him out. But neither Zai nor Cangxuan paid attention to his demand. I continue to eat. Closer to night, she, having eaten and drunk enough, fell asleep with her head on the table. Yilingyan came into their room, fluttering like a butterfly. It was 11 o'clock at night. Cangxuan, who was sitting in a relaxed position on the windowsill, noticed Yilingyan and noticed that if the girl had come later, the pure yang energy would have exploded in her, causing irreparable harm to her health. If that happened, even the gods wouldn't be able to save her from it. Saint Yi was interested in Xuan, because how could he know so much? How does he know about the pure fiery energy of yang? Yang energy is the strongest energy escaping from the body at intervals. With each attack, the body burns as if a person is burning from the inside, which brings unbearable and unbearable pain. Outwardly, without showing any interest, Yilingyan says that Cangxuan's attempts to intimidate her are pointless, that he is an ordinary mortal who just boasts of his knowledge, that the yang energy inside her has already been suppressed by an outstanding master. Elder Yi was provoked by her words, and he suggested that she block his attack so that she would confirm her words. Yilingyan couldn't block his attack because pure yang flame changed direction and turned against her. The threads of Saint Yi's soul were burned by the fiery energy, which led to its accumulation inside, which did not allow her to block his attack, since 2 of the 3 apertures were blocked. According to Cangxuan, the master dealing with the suppression of her yang energy did not tell her that the 10 ultimate sword kai was incomplete, which leads to the death of the owner. The use of this sword drives the owner crazy. His heart is burned out from the inside. These words of Cangxuan sound like a toxin in Yilingyan's head, and she does not believe a single word of his, because it means that the master wishes her evil, and this cannot be true. How could a man who had taught her for so many years, passed on knowledge to her and was like a father, do such a terrible thing to her? Cangxuan's words seem infernally stupid and deceitful to her. Saint Yi's words make the elder laugh, and he shows her his sword, which is much stronger and better than hers, which shocks her, because he has a pure yang kai sword in his hands, which is almost impossible to get. There are very few masters in the world who manage to get a sword of this rank. There are many things in the world that Yilingyan did not dream of, and no one can save her except for the stupid tramp Cangxuan. He thinks out loud that there is no use for him to help her and save her. He would only save her if she became his servant and took him into the Cangxuan clan. He asks her to call herself young master and serve him. Yilingyan tells him not to be so arrogant just because she needs his help. But in the end she agrees, provided that he suppresses the kai energy inside her. At the same second, Cangxuan uses a spell immediately blocking yang energy, causing her some discomfort. Cangxuan's actions bring unpleasant sensations in the body, because the body seems to be filled with lead and becomes unpleasantly heavy. Saint Yi asks him to be more gentle, because sighs and other sounds that can wake up a child involuntarily fly out of her mouth. Ambiguous sounds from the room where Saint Yi and Cangxuan were located attracted the attention of Han Jingling, confusing her. But she could not overcome her curiosity, so she continued standing at the door to listen to the sounds coming from there, thinking that they had indulged in carnal pleasures. These sounds caused a bright blush on Han Jingling's face, but she was in no hurry to leave the room. In fact, behind the door, Cangxuan finished treating senior student Yi. Everything ended well, but if they had delayed a little, then Yilingyan's life would have been in danger and nothing would have been able to help her. The girl would just burn from the inside and slowly die from the way her internal organs smolder, causing unpleasant pain throughout her body. In the morning, they head to the Cangxuan sect, where they are met by many people of different castes, powers, and belonging of the worlds. Some admire Yilingyan, how pretty and attractive she is, how her face shines, and how statuesque she is. Others are discussing what could have happened between Sister Yi and the beggar from the lower world last night. The rumor of ambiguous sounds from the chambers spread through the city immediately, which caused Yilingyan an unpleasant aftertaste, because she was a little ashamed to get into the sect and get acquainted with the neighborhood. All 3 of them, Baby Zai, Cangxuan, and Yilingyan, decide to fly on a sword belonging to Saint. This news pleased young Zai, because the girl had never flown on a sword before and had not seen the city from a bird's eye view. Han Jingling, who was watching this, was very surprised that Saint Yi so respectfully communicates with the poor and worthless Yi. helping him and indulging his requests. Floating in the air at the height of a bird's flight, they had incredibly beautiful views of the city and its surroundings. Zai, being delighted, looks around the city from top to bottom and cannot enjoy the view. The girl hardly saw anything in her life except poverty. Now she is all glowing from what is happening to her. The child's immediate joy warms Cangxuan's soul. The Cangxuan sect is a huge temple floating in the air on a peak, that is, on a part of the earth. The gates of the temple are majestic and large. They are framed in gold. Uncomplicated figures are carved on the doors. To pass through the outer gate is not a task for everyone, because it is very difficult. You have to pass the test in order to become worthy. While others admire the temple, Cangxuan wonders where he and Zai are going to be placed. He would like to visit the Peak of the Saint, which is what Yilingyan reports. Han Jingling hears these words and swoops down on him like a kite, because the girls at the Peak of the Saint are very pretty, but Cangxuan is not. According to Jingling, Elder Yi is a real toad. He is not so handsome, smart and interesting. And the ladies at the Peak of the Saints are swans who are incredibly gentle, smart and beautiful. He and they are like heaven and earth of different levels. He is too far away from them. In addition, she asks Cangxuan what they were doing with Saint Yi, that such ambiguous sounds came from the room where they were last night. The former Elder Yi grinned and decided to make fun of Jingling, so he tells her that her version that they were having fun is correct, because what else can a man and a woman do alone at night? It was a hot, long and pleasant process, bringing pleasure to the two of them. Their verbal sparring is interrupted by Saint Yilingyan, saying that she needs to bring the disciples from Cangzhou to the Cangxuan Hall Square. She asks to wait for Cangxuan and Zai until she finishes her business, because she has important tasks as a saint, but she says that this will not last long and she will join them soon. The exam has begun on the territory of the Cangxuan Hall. The examinees must enter the great formation of the Cangxuan Heavenly Network in order to pass the first test with sacred animals. Standing under the scorching sun, Cangxuan asks to bring him a chair and finally allocate a room, because due to being in the sun for a long time, Zai may get a sunstroke. Yilingyan promises to solve this problem soon as he finishes the exam. The examination area is huge. It is a plot of land bounded by a temple in the center of which there is a sign of yin and yang, which are an indicator of the ideal balance that many strive for. In addition to the balanced circle itself, there are additional energies that must also be in harmony with each other. The exam begins and an explosion occurs. A column of fire rushed into the sky, causing a sound that is pronounced with a roar throughout the district, accompanied by the cry of the examinees. The first test began and immediately some of the examinees dropped out, fearing that they would not come out of the test whole. This year was a very difficult entrance test, because this formation of the Heavenly Network is too heavy for people who are not very trained and were just cowardly. The examiner, Elder Zheng Ping, an aged man with long gray hair and purple robes, concludes that those who decided to take the test will not be able to withstand the fiery bird and astral tiger, which belong to the lower class. The students are terribly prepared. Time has been wasted on them. The desired result will not be achieved. Watching this scene, sitting on the chair that Yilingyan brought and is now blowing it with a fan, Cangxuan, mocking the examiners and examinees, says that this year's enrollment will be terrible, because the slightest difficulty appeared in front of them, and they were already scared. This is a huge shame for those who potentially saw themselves in the sect. This did not happen before. If there was a difficulty in front of them, then they tried to find a way out somehow, and the current students are cowards. Everyone looks with horror and surprise at Yilingyan, who waves her fan so that Cangxuan and Zai are not so hot and wonder how it happened. Could this beggar be her brother, or even worse, her father? The crowd of examinees noticing this began to get angry, because how could Saint Yi be forced to wave a fan for such a poor person? They are ready to kill him for this. Such a mood of the crowd pleases Han Jingling, because she also does not treat this beggar very well. Cangxuan says that he is an old man who is more than 3,000 years old and there is nothing shameful, and that the young Saint Yi should help and serve an old man like him. It should generally be honored, because old people, weak and infirm, need to be helped. It will be counted as karma for them. Immediately, a sphere appears in the sky from where 3 young men come out, telling the former Elder Yi that Sister Yilingyan is a saint of the Cangxuan sect. And the 3 who appeared are outstanding sect disciples who came to the exam to get closer to Saint Yi. But some smelly beggar, without doing anything, dared to force the saint to serve herself. They are ready to teach Cangxuan a lesson and show him his place. One of the young men who appeared is Yun Longji, a stately tall young man with dusty pink hair and ivory robes, with golden dragon inserts on his sleeves, makes a good impression on Elder Zheng Ping. because the guy has an outstanding talent, which means he deserves to be a disciple of the highest sect. This is also noticed by people from the crowd, noting that the three young men have a huge talent. Han Jingling gloats because the three young men are the strongest students this year. The smelly beggar, in her opinion, has gone too far in his relationship with Saint Yi and will get what he deserves. The three young men stood over Elder Yi like thunderclouds, preparing to show him their strength and might. They take Cangxuan for a week and offer to pass the tests, which, in his opinion, are too simple. Since Cangxuan says so, then it won't be difficult for him to pass them. The attitude of the three students towards Cangxuan is very pleasing to the crowd and Han Jingling, because they are all convinced of the worthlessness and senseless arrogance of Cangxuan. He is offered to take the test to make sure that he is strong and worthy of being in such close relations with the Holy Yi, because the care of the saint is not available to everyone. They insult him, calling him a stinking beggar, joke about him, without even imagining what power he has. Cangxuan, having heard the challenge from some of the best students, just sighs wearily and looks at them as if they were stupid, narrow-minded and arrogant little children who have started. He believes that even an ordinary mortal person is capable of coping with the formation, catching and defeating it. It should not be as heavy as they think, and their gloating over him is illogical. Elder Yi's words that even an ordinary person is able to break the formation angers Lei Tao, a large blue-haired youth in blue-gold robes, with a strong and powerful physique. Outwardly, he resembles a gorilla, because he is also hot-tempered and aggressive. He arrived with Yun Longji. Tao shouts at him, calling Cangxuan a worthless, smelly beggar who knows nothing about formations, just saying empty words. Lei Tao's angry tirade is stopped by Chu Chengfeng, a tall and handsome young man with long gray hair and green robes, who also arrived with Yun Longji. He believes that if Cangxuan expressed that everyone can handle and destroy the formation, then he is obliged to demonstrate it. Everyone starts laughing and joking that he can't. Cangxuan looks at them as if they are not very smart people who have said something incredibly stupid, and explains to them what he said, that every mortal is able to cope with this, and he is not a mortal, so how will he demonstrate his strength if he is not a mortal? Also, to spite everyone, he turns to Yilingyan as a servant and tells her to fill his glass with wine. Outwardly, Yilingyan is calm and pours him wine, but inside she is angry that she is being treated so inappropriately, because she is a saint and she is being treated like a simpleton, a commoner from the lower world. As she pours the wine, she asks Cangxuan if a mere mortal can really handle the formation, for how is it possible for a mere mortal to be able to break a level 5 formation? Cangxuan decides to satisfy everyone's interest and agrees to demonstrate how easy it is to cope with the formation. He asks Baby C to help him, and she, in turn, agrees with pleasure because her older brother asked her about it and she can help him. The fact that Elder Yi sent a child to break the formation angered and frightened many, because the child could suffer greatly or, even worse, die. Cangxuan is calm and confident that Zai will be fine, because he told her what to do. He gave her clear instructions, following which she could cope with the test without any problems. The surrounding people, who do not know about this, say that Cangxuan is terrible and insignificant, because he sent a small one. Innocent girls to certain death. Zai, who came up to the formation, attracts all the attention to herself, from which the audience, afraid to even breathe, watches everything that will happen. Zai enters the formation, causing a tall pillar of fire. People are terrified to prepare for the worst, and the girl, in turn, admires the beauty that just happened, thanks to her. She doesn't scare the least bit watching magic. She is inspired and full of energy, which contributes to the continuation of the test. Zai moves through the formation in such a way, as Cangxuan explained to her, in order to successfully pass the tests and not get injured. Zai's actions evoke Xuan Wu, the patron spirit of the north, in the form of an impressive-sized turtle with a snake instead of a tail. Xuan Wu is huge, even though it is a turtle, but it has huge powerful jaws, sharp teeth, and a deadly tail in the form of a snake. The spirit is slow, but its attack radius is wide, so there is a high probability that it will hit C and injure her. Ling Yin worries about the little girl, and while Cangxuan is calm as a boa constrictor, explains that they are just weak, and their worries are in vain. He watches C with a certain grain of pride, but at the same time for an assumed calmness. He is extremely serious and ready to rush to the girl at any moment. A huge deadly turtle begins to attack. Everyone watching it holds their breath, and Zai, with childlike spontaneity and joy, continues his manipulations with the plates, as Cangxuan explained to her. Abruptly, C stops and squats down, starts counting to 3, then gets up and goes 5 squares ahead. Then she stops abruptly again, closes her eyes and starts counting to 4. Her machinations lead others into confusion, because from the outside these actions seem useless. Zai closed her eyes in the Cangxuan formation, which caused confusion and compensation from the three strongest disciples. In their opinion, all this is an illusion. The three of them used up 50% of their Cangxuan power to be able to block the formation. Zai has never been hurt by Cangxuan Wu, which made Yilingyan incredibly happy, but immediately the spirit attacks with greater force. And Zai also continues to go straight to the monster's paws, which frightens Yilingyan to the point of trembling, because she worries about baby Zai. See, moving forward, to the left and forward, sees in front of him an insanely cute little ordinary turtle, picks it up and asks it to play with itself. She strokes the little turtle on the back and assumes that the turtle agrees to play with her. It took less than one stick of incense, as Zai was able to destroy the power of Cangxuan at the first image. The method of destruction chosen by the girl is very incredible and unusual, proves that an ordinary person is able to destroy the formation. After one stick of incense, Zai was able to whiten the fiery phoenix, also picking up a small, cute fiery red bird with yellow flecks. After 2 sticks of incense, she overcomes the ice tiger and a small white kitten appears in front of her, which has gray stripes. She also picks up and offers him to become her faithful friend. After 3 sticks of incense, a huge green dragon appears in front of her, causing sticky fear among the people watching these. But she copes with it without any problems, and a small green dragon appears before her eyes, which she also takes away. After all this, Zai, full of strength and enthusiasm, holding small animals in her arms, goes to Cangxuan, saying that he did not deceive her, promising her many cute animals. Zai came out of the formation to the surprised gasps of the surrounding people. She really destroyed the formation, while not getting a single scratch. Zai asks Cangxuan if she can keep the cute little animals she collected during the test. Elder Yi, looking at the girl with warmth in his eyes, replies that she can leave them if she wants to. They do not pose any threat to her. He himself picks up a white kitten with gray stripes, which looks like a mini version of a tiger, strokes it and is touched by its smallness. The formation through which Zai passed, according to Cangxuan, should have been destroyed 1,000 years ago. It was created with the help of Class 5 animal cores, which implies the presence of disadvantages associated with its lightness, since even a mortal child could pass it without problems. So in fact this formation is meaningless. Its presence in the trials is useless, because it does not reveal even the minimum strength that should be in the students. His words are not liked by the 3 young men who arrived earlier. They are sure that the formation is necessary, because it has been passed on for 1,000 years. It was passed before them. It is like a tribute to all who passed it. And Yilingyan, hearing his words about the senselessness of the formation, asks Cangxuan if this means that he wants to create the strongest, most complex and best formation. According to her, Cangxuan is incredibly strong and talented, that creating a new formation of the highest level will be a very simple matter for him, which will not require much time and effort. Cangxuan drinks wine and tells her that there is no need to egg him on and suck up to him. Let her serve him well, competently and faithfully, and maybe then he will have mercy and create a formation for her that she will ask for. Yilingyan smiles at him and agrees with his words, and a flame of indignation rages inside her, because Cangxuan is overreacting with orders against her. Elder Yi did not expect that after a few thousand years, the Cangxuan sect would still treat the incredibly old-fashioned formations as something valuable, like a treasure. This is a painfully simple formation that he once used for ordinary bird catching, and in general it was created absolutely by accident. He is thinking about whether it is really worth creating a formation that will be much better and more useful than this one. Now that the formation has been destroyed, he turns to Lei Tao, Chu Chengfeng and Yun Longji, asking if they have any questions and problems regarding himself. They answer in the negative, but in their thoughts there is a judgment about how it could happen that the formation that many students tried to break was destroyed by a little mortal girl from the lower world. For them, it's just a humiliating slap in the face, as for strong and talented students. Lei Tao, a blue-haired young man, does not agree that there are no problems and objections and tells Cangxuan that what is happening in the formation is just a trick that is not based on Elder Yi's own abilities. And in general Yi acted meanly, using a small defenseless, fragile girl for this. Cangxuan only says to his remark that they are arrogant students who are incapable of attracting any attention, representing nothing, worthless blockheads. Cangxuan leaves the test site to take a walk and leaves Zai at Yilingyan. Saint Yi asks him to be careful, because there are many forbidden and dangerous places in the sect, to which Cangxuan grins and says that he knows this sect better than everyone here, which surprises Yilingyan. Cangxuan confidently, walking along the path with his eyes closed, approaches the cliff, and it seems that he is about to fall and something terrible and irreparable will happen, as he forms a golden carpet from the air, on which he rises to another piece of land floating in the air to take a nap and rest. Climbing up there, he discovers a huge supply of spiritual wine, which makes him happy. He sits down on the ground with his legs folded in the lotus position, when a powerful old man with a beard and sideburns jumps out of nowhere at him, grabbing his hand and with pressure and anger asking how he dares to steal his wine. His appearance somewhat scares Cangxuan a little. The old man who appeared demands to put the wine belonging to him in its place, squeezing Cangxuan's hand tightly, and not letting him drink the spiritual drink. Cangxuan, who is being held by the old man's hand, asks the old man what will happen if he refuses to put the spiritual wine in place. The winemaker assures him that if he does not put him in his place right now, he will kill him without any mercy, without delay, and nothing will save him from anger. The old man's words did not frighten Cangxuan, and he, without attaching any importance to the words of the gray-haired old man, throws the jar of wine into the other hand, which causes the spiritual winemaker to be puzzled. The old man asks Elder Yi where he got such strength from and what peak he came from. Cangxuan, in turn, mysteriously answers him that it does not matter, because he has his eye on Cangxuan Peak, which means that he unconditionally plans to stay here, and the old man will not interfere with him in any way. Before the old man's eyes, he takes the first sip of wine, and now he almost completely empties the jar. His actions make the old man angry. The owner of the spiritual wine is angry to such an extent that fireballs appear in his palms, and an incredible rage freezes in his eyes. The spiritual winemaker is indignant that an old idiot raised and trained a brat like Cangxuan. Since Cangxuan decided to be so cocky and self-confident, he would educate Elder Yi himself, teaching him discipline and respect for elders. He makes a swing and the fireball moves towards Cangxuan, but he only disappears with a mysterious smile, and appears behind the old man, telling him that he is withered and weak since he could not attack such a brat like him. Elder Yi advises the old man to drink his own wine, which, according to Cangxuan, tastes lousy, absolutely weak, and lacks any immortal spiritual power. But despite the horror of this wine, it will still help the old man calm down and not get angry in vain. The words that the wine made by the old man is lousy causes the owner of this drink an unprecedented rage, which falls like a veil over his eyes. A fiery sphere is formed around him, because he is very angry with the words that his wine is terrible. He says that Cangxuan can say whatever he wants, but he will not allow to speak negatively about his fault. The old man promises to carefully deal with the upbringing and speech of he will make him a cripple and will forcibly keep him as his drinking companion. Cangxuan, after finishing the wine, throws the jar at the old man. He tells the old man that despite his short temper, they are similar because both adore alcohol. He doesn't mind the old drunkard as his loyal alcoholic companion at Cangxuan Peak. The jar thrown at the old man crashes into him with such force that it throws him back a few meters. Cangxuan notices a lot of wounds on the old man's body and concludes that the old man is not so weak, and the wounds on his body are some kind of blockers of his spiritual power, so the old man seemed weak to him. Cangxuan, walking along the peak, finds an abandoned hall from which an incredibly pleasant aroma of wine emanates. The old man tearfully asks Cangxuan to stop and not violate the boundaries of the hall. But Elder Yi says that if the old man comes in without his permission, he will beat him and will not regret it. Alcohol of the highest quality was stored in the hall with a wonderful aroma. Cangxuan did not expect that this old man would be able to make alcohol of such excellent quality. This wine is probably one of the best in this world that he has ever tasted, and not many people in the upper world are able to make alcohol of this quality. Elder Yi pushes off the floor and jumps onto the vat or tripod where this wine is located. Hoping that it will not disappoint him, is going to drink it, but to his surprise, a girl is floating in the wine, who apparently after drinking too much wine was already ruined by it. The girl is half asleep, so she does not immediately realize that someone is looking at her. She looks a little older than C. She has purple hair that is braided into two cute horns, and she herself is in a dusty pink dress. In this young person, Cangxuan recognizes a witch who should be locked in a prison hall, where there are many dungeons in which dangerous demons were sitting. How did it happen that her soul was able to get out of prison? The witch, feeling that someone is looking at her, wakes up dissatisfied with the fact that she was disturbed and not given a good sleep. Fully opening her eyes and waking up, she sees Cangxuan and realizes that he knows who she is and where she should be, which means that she was discovered by an unusual person, so she immediately runs away. Cangxuan just grins at her attempt to escape and tells her that it is impossible to escape from the unknown. Sooner or later she will still be discovered by others and caught. He looks at the alcohol where the witch was and makes an input that the immortal spiritual energy of this high-quality wine was completely absorbed by the witch's soul, which means that without immortal spiritual energy, the taste of wine is weakened by a whole 90%, which makes it not so pronounced. This fact angers Cangxuan. He believes that the young witch is to blame for this, which means she needs to be properly punished. The old man is crying because the alcohol he has been making for 49 years has all disappeared to the drop. Then he eats all the bottles of wine were broken during a short battle with Cangxuan. Cangxuan comes up to him and watches this picture of an old man crying and tells him that the alcohol in the tripod is fine. Hearing his words, the old man takes a deep breath and calms down. Former Elder Yi asks the old man if there is anyone else on Cangxuan Peak besides him and if there are any forbidden places here. But the old man says that he lives here alone, because the peak was abandoned more than 2,000 years ago. He himself has lived here for hundreds of years and has not noticed forbidden places or other people here. He would have found out about it right away. The peak does not attract people in any way. There is nothing surprising and unusual about it, except for its size, so that someone would live with it or just visit it periodically. Cangxuan, hearing his answer, tells him that he must go because he has more important things to do and says goodbye to the old man, who wonders who this unauthorized young man is. Cangxuan headed to Zhenu Hall, a place that brought back many memories from his past. The hall was huge but abandoned. It has not been visited for more than 2,000 years, so it is not surprising that the witch's soul was able to get out. And the hall itself is dirty and unkempt. There is something in the hall that immediately attracts attention. This is a huge stone statue of Cangxuan. The statue is majestic and reflects all the strength and power of Elder Cangxuan. But, unfortunately, it cracked in places, something broke off somewhere, and there are a lot of cobwebs on it. Because no one supported the formation after his death, which means that the strength of the formation is completely exhausted. Cangxuan stomps his foot and the floor falls under him, revealing a staircase leading down. At the bottom, he is met by a huge door, framed by both metal chains and magic ones, so that what is behind this door could not get out. The huge doors of the prison open for Cangxuan. He steps into a place where no one has set foot for 2,000 years. He walks along the cells where once there were living prisoners, and now there are only skeletons, which explains the dead and oppressive silence there. A skeleton lying in one of the cells wrote in blood on the floor, something that attracted the attention of former Elder Yi. The following was written on the floor: 2,000 years have passed, and the Cangxuan sect does not teach martial virtue. The Cangxuan sect treats its prisoners badly, with prisoners. They are dying of hunger and thirst. Please kill us, it's too painful and hard for us. In the cells there were bones of skeletons that were once bloodthirsty generals of the demon sect, thieves and just ordinary people who somehow committed crimes before the sect. A girl's crying echoes through the prison. She turns to a certain person, saying that he left and did not return, completely forgetting about her. The person who lured her here could come and keep her company after tricking her into coming here and locking her up. She is alone, and at the peak of Cangxuan there is only an old winemaker, the Yang energy, which is too strong, which makes it impossible to talk to him. All she can do now is just get to him and pull out quite a bit of aura to survive, because otherwise she might starve to death. She is angry at the one who lured her here, because she is afraid of dying so stupidly. The crying girl was Tang Yu, the same witch that Cangxuan had seen earlier in the tripod with the spiritual immortal wine. She heard footsteps and was glad, because maybe someone discovered this place. She uses a spell to summon a person who has entered the prison. Cangxuan, whom she mistook for a student, is just watching her machinations. She tries to mess with his brains, not understanding who he is. Former Elder Yi thinks that it was not for nothing that he sealed this place before he recovered to the upper world. Because if the disciples of the Cangxuan sect discovered this place, they would easily be fooled by Tang Yu, let her out, and the world would be mired in chaos. Tang Yu, convinced that her charms are working, rejoices. To fool him, he uses the last crumbs of his kai to cast a spell. Tang Yu's body is enveloped in pink smoke, and instead of a cute little girl, she becomes an adult and attractive woman. She believes that all the blame for everything that is happening to her lies with Cangxuan, who imprisoned her for 2,500 years. So she wants to free herself, find the former Elder Yi, imprison him in prison and make him her toy. She flirts with Cangxuan, who came up, not recognizing him as himself. Her flirting doesn't work, and former Elder Yi expresses his displeasure to her for spoiling her alcohol. She doesn't understand what she's talking about, and later it dawns on her that it's about wine. Cangxuan makes her feel strange, because in front of her is an ordinary person who does not even have the basics of cultivation. She assumes that he is a new disciple of the sect who joined her recently, so she thinks she can easily fool him. She continues to flirt with him, saying that wine will not bring him as much pleasure as she can. Tang Yu offers to release her and then he is free to do whatever he wants with her, not denying himself anything. Cangxuan is unhappy with her attempt to bewitch her, telling her that she has become much bolder after more than 2,000 years of his absence. Tang Yu does not understand what he is talking about, because she thought he was an ordinary disciple of the Cangxuan sect. Cangxuan smirks and says that since when has one of the strongest witches of the sect of lust demons determined a person's identity simply by relying on her eyes, and not on the aura emanating from a person. Tang Yu says that the aura is too familiar and understands that the young man standing in front of her is Cangxuan, but still she concludes that it is not Elder Yi himself, but his descendant, his dreams. She gets angry, asks who his mother is, so that she kills her, because how dare she steal her man, whom she has been waiting for more than 2,000 years. Did he have a new love and forgot about Tang Yu? Tang Yu thinks that Cangxuan's potential mother sent him on purpose to show that she stole her love from the witch, because only Cangxuan himself knew about the dungeon. Listening to her angry tirade, the former Elder Yi thinks that he and his wife had no one. Where could the probable child have come from? Tang Yu is indignant that Cangxuan has a son who is now mocking her and does not want to let her out of prison. The former Elder Yi asks where the witch got such a stormy fantasy and gives her a click. The witch lets out a tear and says that if his father dared to mock her, then why is he doing it? She says to let her out of the dungeon and then she will take him with her. Cangxuan sighs heavily and tells her that he is not some son, but he himself. Tang Yu does not believe him and tells him not to try to deceive her, because although he looks like Cangxuan, he is not, because there is a difference. Cangxuan, whom Tang Yu knew, had always been in the realm of body purification and he had a body cultivation, and the young man sitting opposite her does not have this cultivation. Tang Yu hears Cangxuan's words, and she thinks that the guy sitting across from her is trying to impersonate his father, Elder Yi, in order to take advantage of her sexually. Cangxuan sighs wearily and says that she has completely lost her mind for more than 2,000 years and is apparently trying to touch a very stupid one. He uses magic and pulls her to the bars, telling her that she is just a little girl who is trying to seem like an adult. Her demon sex charm technique is not effective against Cangxuan. Tang Yu is indignant at how the former Elder Yi was able to undo her transformation, her demonic charms. Cangxuan pulls her cheeks and says there's nothing wrong with being a cute little girl. As an adult, you have a lot of problems and responsibilities, and when you are a child, you are carefree and in some way free. And even more so, Cangxuan reminds her of their last meeting and what happened when she tried to charm the last time when he spanked her for this technique. That day, he told her that if she tried to charm him again, she would punish her much more and spank her so hard that she would not be able to sit. And once she escaped from the dungeon, using another of her reincarnations. Back then, she wanted to mix the love charm potion into Cangxuan's bath to make him fall in love with her. Moreover, before releasing her after 100 years of imprisonment, he told her not to return to the demon sect, because her status meant nothing, and in the end he saved her, because she was drained of his instructions. There was a terrible battle in which Tang Yu could have died. She suffered a lot of wounds, but thanks to Elder Yi, she remained alive. Cangxuan's story about their moments together convinced the young witch that this was the real Yi, and no one else. This realization brought tears to Tang Yu. For more than 2,000 years ago, he left her alone for a long period of time. Cangxuan was about to leave, but Tang Yu grabs his clothes and says she won't let him go until he lets her out. For 2,600 years she was imprisoned, alone in the basement, and she had no one to talk to. She cries and says how lonely and sad she was being here, without food and water. Cangxuan tells her that at that time he was obsessed with martial arts and then he decided to go to the upper world, made his way to the list of the greatest, became number 1 in the heavenly list. But he disappeared, because he died once and could not return, because he was literally collecting his body bit by bit. These revelations of Cangxuan bring tears to Tang Yu, especially the fact that he died once. After learning that Cangxuan had died earlier, Tang Yu asks him if his health is good, if his origin has suffered. An unhealthy fighting light appeared in Tang Yu's eyes, and she furiously asks who dared to kill the former Elder Yi. She asks to tell the name of this person, then she will beat him to death and will not spare him. Cangxuan says that he is fine. Even if he has no strength left, there are only 2 or 3 people who can fight him in a fair fight, and Tang Yu is a little girl who should not bother her head with this. But the young witch says that she is not small, but an adult conscious person who is able to fight back against offenders. Cangxuan asks her if she wants to get out of the dungeon, to which she gives a positive answer and sparks of joy light up in her eyes. Cangxuan explains to her that he had previously locked her up here, because in his absence she could have caused a lot of trouble, and the fact that she was also a cute child would have played into her hands. But since Cangxuan has returned and can personally look after her, he will let her go, but only with 3 conditions. First, no reincarnation. She should remain in her natural form of a cute girl, and not transform into an attractive and sexy woman, which she is not. Secondly, do not move away from it more than 5 steps. She should always be in his field of vision. Third, don't call yourself old and don't take on too much. She should not attract much attention to herself. Tang Yu happily agrees to all 3 conditions. They are easy to fulfill and she will be next to her beloved Cangxuan, as well as his conditions prove that he is not cruel, but sweet and kind. She jumps on him with hugs, but the request of the former elder Yi to get off him, she gives a negative answer and with a smile snuggles even more. She tells him that he has disappeared and left her for more than 2,000 years. She has missed him too much and will not let him go so easily. She climbs onto his shoulder and sits down, and with a childish mischief in her eyes and a loud cry informs him that she is hungry as a wolf and now she would eat a whale. At that time, in the city where Yilingyan and Zai stayed, people look at the second one with admiration. The girl is standing next to a stone pedestal that shimmers with 2 colors. The surrounding people notice that Baby C has a huge innate potential. The 2 colors bloomed at the same time and both reached the saint rank level. Sanji, which Zai possesses, is of the highest quality. Yilingyan notes that her little ward has a double Taoist body. That is, this is a body that meets extremely rarely. Even in 10,000 years it cannot be found. And they are also attributes of ice and flame, capable of cultivating both yin and yang, creating the most perfect balance. C, not paying attention to the others, wonders how Stella, in front of which she stands, can glow by herself in 2 colors. The 3 strongest disciples who arrived earlier are incredibly surprised that this little girl is a saint rank. Her innate potential as a saint is able to impress absolutely everyone. To everyone's amazement, Elder Zhao Changkun appears in the sky. People are whispering and someone says that this little girl will probably enter the inner gate right away. Zhao Changkun, an old man in heavenly robes, aims to take the girl for himself and train her. A woman's laughter is heard in the sky. He is told not to solve such issues alone. A woman in purple and pink robes appears in front of him, Elder Yuxuan, who is the master of the Shena Peak. She says that the girl will go with her because she is better than Zhao Changkun. Zuo Tongshan, the emperor of Tongshan Peak, a heavyset man with dark hair, sunken eyes and a red robe, says that they have Saint Yi, which means that Zai should be handed over to him at Tongshan Peak. Lu Zaibu, the master of Yongxing Peak, a big man with a mustache and green robes, says that his peak is the best place for knowledge and books, so the young talent will be better off with him. Zhao Changkun says that why can't they solve this issue in turn, and since he was the first, then the girl will go with him. 3 masters are not satisfied with this arrangement. Yuxuan tells him that he is not even a peak master and at the same time wants to steal a potential disciple from them in the person of Zai. What's the point of taking her to Zhao Changkun if he doesn't have the resources? He may be strong, but he loves freedom and does not want to take responsibility, and becomes a master of the peak, so he is too irresponsible to teach little Zai. Zhao Changkun is angry at their words and he tells them that let them be damned bastards, because they themselves seized the positions of the peak masters. Initially there were no peak masters, and now they are proud of it, mocking him. They told him altogether that it was hard for them to be masters of the peak and asked not to inflame the situation. And now they are being clever. Suddenly, another figure appears in the sky. This is an old man in dark blue robes. He tells everyone arguing to stop arguing, because this girl will unconditionally go with him. People standing on the ground and watching the skirmish of the masters do not understand that another master has appeared, asking each other who it is. The supreme elder of the Cangxuan sect, Tang Tsang, appeared himself. Of all the assembled craftsmen, he looked the oldest and wisest. No one dared to go against him, so they agreed that little Sai would go with him. Tang Kang says that he did not expect to meet such a talent so quickly, because he had just come out of seclusion. With C's innate potential, she will undoubtedly inherit the inheritance of Supreme Elder Tang himself to perfection. Or even better, she will surpass him, which pleases Elder Tang. The 4 masters make a bow and say that they are glad to meet with the Supreme Elder Tang Tsang. But he awkwardly smiles and says that there is no need for formalities, especially since he stole a disciple from them. But if one of them has objections, he can unconditionally express them, and Tang in turn he will listen to each of them. Zhao Changquan says that Tang Kang is too serious in his intentions, so none of the masters dare to go against his will, so they sincerely congratulate him on having a new talented student. Inside, Zhao Changquan is glad that Baby Zai did not get to any of the 3 masters, because they will not be able to somehow laugh at him and boast that the girl got to one of them, which means he didn't lose in their verbal argument. Tang Tsang laughs and thanks the masters for their congratulations. He will take them with him to get to know them all with his new wonderful student Baby C. Yi Lingyan, who is standing next to Zai, greets the elders, and the Supreme Elder, Na Tang, asks her not to be painfully formal and polite in his presence. He asks her to be more calm and not worry. Yun Longji, who is watching this picture, is angry because he does not understand why such a little beggar like Zai could attract the attention of such a respected person as the Supreme Elder of the Cangxuan sect. Tang Kang, is it really only because of his innate spiritual potential? Obviously, the senior student Longji should be at the epicenter of attention in the exam and in general in life, since, in his opinion, he is the best and none of the students can surpass him. Tang Kang approaches little Zai and tells her that he is the Supreme Elder of the Cangxuan sect, and from that moment on she becomes his disciple and he becomes her teacher. He looks at her with a look that is full of kindness and warmth, smiling at the young talent. He waits for the girl to answer him that she agrees to become his disciple, but Zai, as if nothing had happened, tells him that she will not become his disciple, because her elder brother said that he himself will be her teacher, because there is no one else in the Cangxuan sect who is worthy to teach her. Hearing the words that Zai has an older brother, Tang Kang is surprised and asks Yi Lingyan what she knows about Zi's brother. But Lingyan does not have time to answer, as Yun Longji immediately appears, who says that he can tell about her brother. For Longji, this is a chance to be noticed by such a great person as Supreme Elder Tang Kang. Yun Longji, who does not have the best feelings towards Yi Cangxuan, is ready to tell everything he knows, thereby exposing him in a bad light, and thereby spoil the reputation of little Zai. Tang Kang, having heard that Yun Longji knows something about the elder brother of his possible disciple, asks for all known information about the girl's named relative. And Yun Longji happily says that the person called her elder brother is an arrogant beggar from the lower world, showing maximum disrespect for the disciples of the Cangxuan sect and the saint. There was not a drop of cultivation from him, but at the same time he behaved like a god. So Longji asked him to pass the first exam, but Yi Cangxuan found all sorts of excuses not to pass the tests, and even sent Zai instead to pass the deadly tests. Moreover, Yun Longji said that Yi Lingyan personally serves him, calls him master, pours wine, brings a chair, retires with him in a room, making obscene noises and fanning himself with a fan. So he decided that Yi Cangxuan is an outsider lover of Saint Yi, which in Yun Longji's opinion is unacceptable. Tang Kang is very surprised by what he heard, namely the part where it was said that Saint Yi is in an ambiguous relationship with a beggar. So he asks Yi Lingyan if it is true that she serves him, and hearing an affirmative answer comes into an unprecedented rage. Yi Lingyan tries to calm her uncle and asks him to listen to her. She says that everything is not as he thinks, but Tang Kang does not hear her and continues his furious tirade about how dare a person without a level of cultivation somehow speak negatively about the Cangxuan sect. How can it be that Saint Yi herself is serving him? Serving a beggar is a disgrace for the entire Cangxuan sect. Tang Kang continues to scold Saint Yi. The Supreme Elder asks to find Yi Cangxuan, bring him and not let him go, because he wants to look this arrogant brat in the eyes. After listening to his tirade, Yi Cangxuan makes a sound, and everyone pays attention to him. He asks who should be found and not let go. He confidently walks towards the people discussing him, and Tang Yu, sitting on his shoulder, demands food, namely meat. Zai, seeing Cangxuan, rejoices and shouts that Big Brother has returned and runs to him with hugs, and Yi Lingyan, noticing him, calls him master and says that she is glad to see him. Yun Longji points to Yi Cangxuan and says that this is the most arrogant beggar and possible lover of Saint Yi, about whom he spoke, who humiliated him, and the Cangxuan sect spoke unflatteringly about the local teachers and students. Tang Yu descends from Yi Cangxuan's shoulders to Zai and meets her. Baby Zai looks at a new acquaintance and sincerely smiles at her, saying that Tang Yu is a cutie and she will be glad to be friends with her. The young witch smiles at Baby Zai and tells the former elder Yi that he knows a lot about talent, and Zai will be an excellent student who will achieve a lot under his clear guidance. Because Cangxuan is wise and smart, knows a lot of everything, and is scrupulous enough in the selection of students.